Welcome to another episode of Kids and Mom. My name is Eltee and I am honored to be your host for today. On today's show, it promises to be educative, informative, enlightening, and so much fun. So what I want you to do right now is sit tight, don't change that channel, because we'll be right back for more on Kids and Mom. Drop your comments and questions on our Facebook page. You can follow us on Twitter and on Instagram. Welcome back to the show. Right now we have an important person that we'd like to speak with about some important things. His name is Daniel Taiwo. He is an experienced, enthusiastic, and focused educationist who is committed to safeguarding and promoting positive educational values. He is committed to the development of teaching and learning in Nigeria, and he has pioneered various initiatives to address the deficiency observed in the education sector. He is the CEO of Rescripting Consulting Limited, an organization committed to helping businesses achieve their set objectives, and he is the Chief Learning Officer of City Top School. He has served as principal and school administrator, vice principal academics, vice principal administration of various private schools in Lagos, with a track record of building up such institutions and repositioning them for better results and impact. Daniel is the convener of the Strategic Teachers Conference, the MD Teachers Conference, and among other conferences, trainings, and workshops geared towards teacher development, school development, and improving learning outcomes for pupils. Through the Rescripting Consults, Daniel provides school management services to chains of schools in and outside Lagos, giving insight into contemporary management to translating underperforming schools into productive and high-performing institutions. Daniel has a first degree in economics education from the University of Ibadan and a second degree in educational administration and planning from the University of Lagos. He is well trained in teaching and various capacity development, and he is committed to self-development and also that of himself and his staff. You're welcome to the show, Mr. Daniel. How are you doing today?
Fine, thank you, Eltee.
Fantastic stuff. All right, so let's just get right into it. You know, COVID has really changed the trajectory of learning for our students. So I want you to tell us what it means to learn outside of the classroom and how COVID has affected learning outside of the classroom.
Okay, so thank you so much for the introduction. To get started, yes, the future we're all anticipating, COVID came and brought the future upon us. Even though we have quite a number of people who have been in that future, but to many, especially in this part of the world, Nigeria, what we're doing right now, we're not doing that before. But as a result of COVID, we're now bringing, learning beyond the classroom. That's talking about, LMS, learning solution management that we do right now. So what I would say is that yes, a lot of schools have moved, because from COVID, your school could not have not operated for 6 months or 9 months, as the case may be, when the shutdown was on. And almost a number of schools have moved up to school online. And for what it is right now, the students have adjusted to it, even though not all. Some are still fighting it, but again, though we are back physically in classroom now, but we're still juggling. The hybrid learning is taking place, where you have the physical classroom going on. In case of where you give homework, so the students go back to the platform, possibly maybe Google Classroom or the other various platforms that schools use, where students can go back to for their homework. So they get the homework done online, while they get their work done physically in the school. So that's what we have right now.
I wanted to ask you, everything has its pros and cons. So what would you say are the disadvantages of learning outside of the classroom?
In terms of technology, the disadvantage would be as a country or as where we are in this part of the world, we're not ready for the change. So one of the things is that, for instance, data is not really regulated for schools. So data operators, still do their normal thing, and the data itself is not really strong. The signal is not that strong, whereby when you're online learning, to aid you. So that's the problem on its own. So you want to connect to your school, you want to connect to do your homework or submit something or watch a video that you may have to do. There's no data, so that in itself is a challenge. But narrowing it down to the students, we want to talk about lack of concentration because the student cannot sit still. Especially when there's no adult supervising them. So ordinarily a child that can do his or her homework by himself, when you're not there guiding or supervising, that there's no water that can spill on the notes, so the child can do the work. But right now you cannot leave that same child on a system alone. So that in itself is another disadvantage. But the kids are getting used to that, and then I'm sure with time we're going to overcome that challenges. But more importantly, I think the advantages are in itself good, in the sense that the teachers do not have enough time in the classroom to cover what they need to cover. So with the online platform, there are videos online the children can learn from, there are notes online, so you have 40 minutes to teach, and you need to explain, the children needs to write. All of that is not enough. But there is a learning going on outside of the classroom, so the child can be at the comfort of his home to do exam. For example, when a child is absent, maybe during exam time, so the child not due to health this time around, has to do something, go somewhere, maybe to embassy. When the child is back, the child can actually write the exam. There's nothing he or she has missed. So from wherever the child is, that's one of the advantages that you have, for the online. So it's not like, the child can't go, there's an exam going on, so you have to be available. When somebody is sick right now, you can't do the exam.
Yes.
So those are obvious advantages that it has. And you see, when a child also misses school, nothing is actually missed, especially where you have schools whereby the classes are recorded, so you can go back to see exactly what others have had, but not there. So those are the advantages why the online learning has to stay.
Drop your comments and questions on our Facebook page. You can follow us on Twitter and on Instagram.
My name is Victory Francis and I'm 7 years old. And what I want to be when I grow up, I want to be a lawyer. Why I want to be a lawyer is that I'll be solving people cases. I like playing and reading. I read novels and I read diaries. I'll say, don't be sad. I'm here for you and I'm your friend. Thank you. Thank you for watching Kids&Mum.
Drop your comments and questions on our Facebook page. You can follow us on Twitter and on Instagram. Okay, so now with the introduction of, screen time, what would you say are the effects of this on our kids? Laptops, phones, HD TVs, tabs, whatever. What would you say are the effects of this on the children's creativity?
Okay, so it's dual. Okay, so like we talked about the pros and cons. For screen, yes, anything that one does too much has negative effect. So also staying in front of screen for a long time has effect, on the eyes especially. So if you have screen guard on the tablet or on the laptop that can reduce the light ray from the screen, that'll be better. We also advise that parents can regulate the time that should be spent on it. I used to say jokingly that people set time to work, but they don't set time to play. So for instance, yes, someone to say, my reading time is 1 hour. And they'll be meticulous about the time. So when it is, in fact, before 1 hour, the check-in time is 1 hour and close the book. But you never see a child say, I want to play for 1 hour. And so some of them, the gadgets has become playtime for them. So there's need for parents to regulate the time. That way, it can help them and also allow them to do some creative stuff with their hands. Because you need, of course, with system, you get creative, but without the system, you can get more creative with your environment, get to know your environment, get to do things at home, so it helps. All I would say is regulation.
All right. Thank you so much for, that insightful information you gave about the screen time. It brings me to wonder because, like you said earlier, COVID did not announce itself. We were not communicated adequately enough. And so a lot of schools have had to adjust. But how has been the relationship between the parents and the schools in this transition, of learning outside of the classroom?
Okay, so, like you read out that I'm a chief learning officer of a school. So if I use that example of what we did, though for us, it was more like we knew COVID was going to happen. We didn't know COVID. But we started what we call Smart School in 2019, December. So we had a plan. So we drew up the plan of what the parents will need to do, what the teachers will need to do, what the students will need to do, what the school will need to do. So we shared this plan with everybody, with our parents, so they saw what their own roles were then, the roles of the kids, what were the teachers, everyone. So when we passed that communication, we allowed for questions and ask questions. So we started, as COVID will have it. So by March, we had already started that. So when I said earlier that about communication, whatever thing any school wants to do, I believe that parents are one of the major stakeholders. So we don't dump things on them. We carry them along.
Yes.
Let them know of what the plans we have at the parent-teacher forum. So when you pass that communication to them and what they need to do, but it's one thing for you to tell us about your plan. It's another thing to let us know what our role will be in the plan. And so what I was for now, right now, a lot of parents are adjusting. Okay, of course, we need more parents to adjust because some parents are saying, no, now school has resumed, let us go back to what we're doing. I don't have time. I'm not available. I can't leave my kids, with system. Of course, we want to accept all of those points. However, like I did mention about the advantages, the parent will just encourage them to open up, more. But I think communication is key. Let's communicate to them. There will be feedback. The parents are going to tell you, no, we can't do this. Okay, why are they saying no? What do we do? Which was why a lot of schools then adopted WhatsApp as a learning platform. Okay, so of course that's the lowest form of learning platform that you can get. So but I'm sure right now we're moving up.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you, based on what you've said now, what do you think the effect of parent-school relationship is on the esteem of the child and the performance of the child as well? Because, like you mentioned, nobody was prepared for COVID. We didn't expect it to happen, but it happened. A lot of schools migrated. A lot of parents migrated for the time being, but they did not migrate in their minds.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So, but how important is parent-school relationship? Because all of this has to do with the child, not really the parents. So with all of this transition going back and forth going on, what are the effects of your relationship the school and the parent have? What is the effect on the esteem of the child and the performance of the child in today's education system?
Okay, so relationship between parent and school is mutual.
Okay.
What is bringing the relationship to be is the child. Without the child in the school, there can't be a relationship existing between the school and the parent. And so the two parties needs to understand what they're doing. Because the child, as it is right now, whatever thing we give to the child will adjust to it. But they are still in their formative stage. So it is the parents that we do more work on right? And we do communicate to them. Some will tell you no. And then when they say no, you just want to find a way to carry the child along. So that comes back to school. Because if you have 10 parents, for instance, and 8 agree to go with you on your, digital learning, while 2 did not. So you can't leave the 2 children out of the plan. So what we do is to plan along with those 2 kids.
Okay.
While we get the parent to buy into what we are doing.
Okay.
Because with the parent not understanding, I want to believe at the time, or finding it difficult to open up the mind to accepting the reality. Okay, we can't leave the child. The child cannot, they say when two, what do they call it now? 2 things are fighting, it's the grass that suffer.
Yeah, 2 elephants are fighting. It's the ground that suffers.
So in this case now, so the child cannot, suffer. So what we do is to find a way to integrate the student to learn, in what they're doing.
Drop your comments and questions on our Facebook page. You can follow us on Twitter and on Instagram. All right, thank you so much, Daniel. I'd like to ask you this question. Now, how can parents and schools foster their relationship to the point where communication is so effective and productive for the well-being of the child?
Yeah, okay, so what I'll say is that number 1, we need to have more than one medium of communicating.
Okay.
I know the most easiest is WhatsApp. Almost schools have WhatsApp group where they put their parents, and some goes beyond having portal, where communication about what the child is learning in school is on the portal. Parents have access to it. In the case where you have a teenager, maybe secondary school student, they also have access to the portal to do their work. So all of this channel must be harnessed to the fullness to get to communicate to parents. For instance, when you put a message in a group to parents, for instance, we've got a feedback that because it comes in a group, some parents don't open it. So you have lost them.
Okay.
So what some of them have requested is that send to me personally. So then you are now wondering, so what's the essence of the group? Okay, is such that you don't have to be sending messages to about 100 parents, 50 parents at a time. So you created a group. But I also understand that there are a lot of groups that these parents, are in, and they have muted it because of things that come into the, through that platform. So again, in school, they expect you to send that information to them individually, privately. And in that area, we are transiting into it really. But you find it, and again, we also have communication book. The child, one of the easiest way we also communicate analog way is to have a communication book. So this communication book, okay, I think I should say this now since we're on ahead, that parents should please help us when the child comes back from school. So the first thing the parents should look for in that bag is
the communication book.
So take communication book, whatever information that is passed or that has been passed, you will see it there. So if you don't have time to go over it every day, maybe every weekend, take the communication book, go over the information for the week, and then you read through. There are things that you have to do, you do. Okay, we understand that you might not get the information that same day, but we're appealing, advising that let's try and get the communication first thing when the child comes back from school.
Okay,
and that way, schools that really use that information can be passed, and then what about the child? Because this is where it comes in. For instance, in the communication book, a child should come with a white clothes tomorrow. And so the parent didn't read the communication. And the child can also not say that we're asked to come with this tomorrow. And so the child comes to school, looks odd. And so the parent is asking, why is my child looking odd? And the school is saying, oh, we're sorry, we passed it through the communication book. I know, but somebody should have called me. Why is only my child different? Okay, of course, in consulting, one of the things we tell school is that kind of thing could have been, averted. How? In the morning, when everybody comes in and you see that child different, then we advise our schools that we consult for call the parents that morning. And if they are far away, then it's something you can buy, you get it. And then the child will not look different. So that way, you put the child in a position not to lose confidence of oneself. So why is everybody doing this and I'm not doing this? So I think that first the communication needs to be tied. The channel of communication that any school adopts, the parents should please accept it. Don't do your do not disturb on it. Don't mute the school group, because most likely they will send information through it. The communication book, like I said earlier, let's try and first thing when you come back from work, can I have a communication book?
Yeah.
That will tell about, at least with that it will bridge the gap. So the child knows that my mom, my dad have, they are on top of what is happening in school.
Thank you so much, Daniel, for coming to the show. We had an amazing time with you, and we have a little gift to give you.
Wow.
So, from every one of us here at Kids&Mum, we want to present to you this beautiful throw pillow.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yes, Thank you once again, and we hope to see you very soon.
That's fine.
All right, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back for more on Kids&Mum. Drop your comments and questions on our Facebook page. You can follow us on Twitter and on Instagram.
Welcome to Kids&Mum. My name is Amomi, also known as Toke. On today's episode of Kids&Mum, I want to share with you 5 tips that would help your child to study effectively. Yes, you heard me right. 5 tips to help your child study effectively. So let's go straight into it. Number 1, create a designated study area. So you know that corner in the room, be it by the left or the right, where they can have their table, their stool, and the reading lamp. Yes, you need to create a place for them, because then they know it's their space. That is where they need to study. Number 2, have a schedule. Yes, you heard me right. So of the subject they study in school, have a timetable for it. So on Monday, we are doing math, English. On Wednesday, we are doing physics, chemistry, biology. Something along those lines. Have a schedule, because what doesn't get scheduled doesn't get done. Number 3, take notes. Encourage them to take notes from everything that they have learned in class. So they come home with their books in their study area at that time that they have designated, 6 p.m. for example, they are taking notes after reading. It is a very, very good skill to practice, because it would help you to understand what you have learned in class. Number 4, practice recalling. I'll explain what that means. You know how it is that you've taken these notes now after you have studied your material. Encourage them to close the book now and try and recall what they have read. Retentive memory plays majorly in this area. What that does for them is to know if they understand what they have read, if they can recall it. And if they cannot, they just go back again to read and to take more notes again and try again. And then number 5, which is my favorite one, is to practice test questions. Yes, you heard me right. Hopefully they have resource available for them that they can use to do that. If not, just Google it or buy some textbooks that would allow them to practice exactly what they have learned in their sciences or in their maths and English. So those are my 5 tips that would help you as a parent to help your child to develop effective study habits. So number 1 again is create a designated study area. Number 2 is have a schedule. Remember I said what doesn't get scheduled doesn't get done. Number 3 is to take notes. Number 4, practice recalling. And number 5 is to practice test questions. That's all I have time for on today's episode. Check out more amazing episodes on our YouTube channel, Eltee TV. And as always, I want to know your feedback. Which of these tips stood out for you? Which one have you been practicing? And what will you be doing more of? Thank you.
Drop your comments and questions on our Facebook page. You can follow us on Twitter and on Instagram. Wow, we've come to the end of another beautiful episode of Kids and Mom. Like we promised at the beginning of the show, we told you that it was going to be informative, educative, fun, beautiful, and so much more, and we delivered. So please follow us on all our social media platforms. On Instagram, we're at Kids and Mom 1. On YouTube, we're at Kids and Mom. And on Facebook, we are at Kids and Mom. So from me and everyone else here till we'll come your way again next time, it is God bless and bye-bye.